Good evening slash morning. It's 1 a.m. here in San Jose, California. It is October 1st, 2020. This is Garrett Schaefer with Don't Get Me Started. I am here to talk about all of the crazy things going on in the world, politics, music, and your neighborhood, whatever comes up. But obviously, right now, in election season here in 2020, at what appears to be the end of all things, um, shit's getting crazy. I apologize to listeners who don't respond well to rough language, but there will be a lot of it in this podcast. It's hard not to swear when the world is in this state. That being said, let's go over what's happened within the last 24 hours, and then I guess I can just expand from there. Um, I didn't watch the debates. I knew how they would go. Trump would, at some point, be questioned about his support for white nationalists, and he would totally skirt around the issue, blame Antifa, and Biden would do absolutely nothing to appeal to the left. Um, I'm convinced that the Democratic Party has completely set up their game plan to either lose or I don't know. This isn't, I recently had an issue with a job where I had a manager try to in a Zoom chat with lots of people be like, "Oh my God, Kamala Harris just got nominated for VP. It's such a huge moment." And this organization seemed like a progressive organization, and I had the audacity to be like, "That's nothing worth celebrating based on the values that this organization seems to be, you know, espousing." I'm sure there's a better word I could think of, but I can't do it right now. But the things they were saying, they were very pro union, pro worker, pro all the good stuff, pro people. And hearing somebody within the group, especially somebody who was, one of the managers of the group, try to tell a whole group of people that it was on the job a good thing that Kamala Harris was nominated for VP and we should all celebrate is kind of one of the things that made me realize that I may be wrong for working for other people or something to that effect. It just, even in the most progressive and me friendly organization that I've ever worked for, I still found this uneducated hyper liberalism. And it's really the one of our biggest obstacles right now. Malcolm X said the white moderate. That's who you got to watch out for. And this lady was Mexican, dark skinned Mexican, but it's she had gotten to a point where she had a comfortable income and playing by the rules, following the lines, whatever it is, was beneficial to her. So whether or not she actually felt I imagine she did. She sounded like she honestly meant what she said about, being excited about, a black woman to be the first, vice president, or first black woman vice president, etc. But when I tried to bring up, well, Kamala's record is atrocious. She refused to let trans people be separated in jail, and she had multiple cases brought before her where there was evidence showing that someone who had been wrongly convicted was really just innocent the whole time, and she refused to allow that evidence to be submitted. She made fun of people, like in a big speech, made fun of people who were saying we should be spending more money on schools than prisons. And it just it she's a gross person. I absolutely am pro female, pro person of color being in a position of power. Nina Turner is my freaking hero. If I could have anybody president right now, I'm going Nina Turner. Okay? So get off me about not being pro whatever liberal bullshit enough. I'm like so far left of the people who are chewing me out for not supporting Biden that they don't even get that they look like Republicans to me. Anywho, I digress. The other things going on lately are obviously California has been subjected to. Um, I've lived here my whole life. This is the worst thing I've ever seen. The forest fires this summer have made California just. If this is the new normal, this place went from one of the best places in the world to one of the worst in a year or two. Like, at least for major occupation, I'm sure there's worse places you can live in Mongolia. But like, if you're thinking about relocating to a major American city, the Bay Area used to be one of the most desirable spots in the world. I kind of realized that when I was a kid. Like, we had 300 days of sunshine a year. The weather was just it was just perfect. The Mediterranean, I think, is the term. Never snows here, but never gets too hot either. That's the Bay Area. And now all of a sudden, just all of California is way too hot and on fire. And it has been for, a couple years in a row, but this year just I have been spending the last 2 months driving up and down from Central California to Sacramento and the Bay Area to hang out with a few family members and people that I stay close with during this lockdown. And one day when I made a trip from San Luis Obispo all the way to Sacramento, that's a 5 6 hour drive almost. There was no sky. It was thick, dark, awful smoke, so bad that in the car with the windows rolled up and the AC on and the vent set so it was recirculating and not pulling any new air in, we still had to put masks on in the car because it tasted so bad. For it just this summer was apocalyptic. It was definitely the precursor of some horrible, horrible things to come. Um, and I've always said California is the most beautiful place on earth, but the word got out. And not only did the word get out, but now the warnings about climate change have gone so unheeded that California is experiencing the most extreme violent repercussions of the climate changing. And we've got a president in charge who seems to be relishing in this fact and loves to blame us for it because it gets. I'm pretty sure he's got to know that global warming is bullshit. He absolutely has filed all kinds of stuff in Scotland and other countries where he has golf courses saying I need to make the country pay to shore up the shore next to my golf course because global warming is going to take out my golf course. So he knows what it is. He's very aware, but he's also playing to his base and saying, "Oh, there's no global warming, and if the Californians just sorry, let me do a Trump. I'm tired of people doing Trump like he's got this like, low voice. He's really queeny, like he's just very whispery, very I don't like being talked to, Dad. Just don't tell me what to do. It's That's a very terrible take. I'm working on it. But I'm trying to figure out where this Trump voice is because I'm tired of people trying to play him like this big, bulky lummox. He's really, really wispy and flaily and flappy and has zero uh, backbone. Um, some ADD aside here, just about people doing impersonations of Trump. But yeah, it's not. It's. Uh, Anyhow, that's how Trump sounds to me. Super whiny, super baby. Someone never taught him how to talk right. Um, where was I? God, this podcast got off to the great start I wanted it to. Yeah, I didn't write anything down. This is freestyle. What else about the situation? Oh, Proud Boys, fascists, all that stuff. That finally came into the conversation. And that's huge because that's something I've been trying to raise awareness of since before Trump was elected, that that was something that was happening. Like, white supremacists in this country have been, I mean, this country is built on white supremacists. Everything about America that makes it so dominant and powerful in the world is entirely based on the fact that at some point it was run by a bunch of people who felt entitled to the world because they were white. And I'm not proud of that. I don't think we deserve all that. And apparently, all we've done with that wealth is just give it to a handful of really, really, really shitty people while the whole country suffers. Definitely understand the argument for reparations now. I say we take. I mean, it should be really easy to identify all the richest families that benefited from the Confederacy and slave trading and their descendants, see who's still rich, and just take their shit. That's super easy, and you know they have so much money. So that's my take on reparations. There's a handful of families in this country that are absolutely horrible people who know they benefited from slavery and are totally fine with it. And we're talking billions of dollars deep, these people are now. Like, you don't understand. People think slavery was this little, like, part of the economy of America. And, like, no, America wouldn't have ever been able to accumulate the power it did to stand up to the world without slavery. That is not a please don't take that as a knock on slave or as a pro-slavery argument. But the only way that all these shitty old rich white assholes were able to accumulate so much wealth and power so quickly was by making people work for them for free. That's it. Free labor. It's a pretty simple business model. It's a bullshit one, and it's one that you have to be an awful person to come up with. But that's what America is built on. And based on that, I feel reparations are absolutely due, considering that America is built on the unpaid work of an entire group of people. And their descendants have zero social mobility due to the fact that they are completely cut off from any of the gains that their ancestors earned for their owners. Meanwhile, their ancestors and all their descendants are rich as hell, sending their kids to private schools. Probably lots of them are in office, on boards of directors, making decisions that change the world and affect us all without ever being in the newspaper. So there's that. This is kind of turning into a bit of a rant, so I just want to wrap it up and see what can be made of it. But this is my first episode of Don't Get Me Started. It's a short one. I don't got much to work with since I'm winging it, but there will be more in the future, and I'm open to questions, subjects. I'd love to have people to interview. This is something I've been wanting to do for a long time, and we're going to make it happen. So thank you if you have listened to this. If you have any questions, throw them in the comments. And if you enjoyed anything about it, like, subscribe. God, I feel gross saying that. But yeah, just hang around for more. I want this conversation to go on because I am not seeing it happening where it needs to be happening. Thank you for your time. Have a great evening. You got me started.